Welcome to No Notes.
I'm Colby.
And I'm Alex.
Welcome back.
Welcome back. So last week we had 2 tops, and this week we have 2 bottoms.
Which one would you prefer?
I'll take the sadder one, I think. Last night we watched the Trump-Biden debate, so I'm still kind of processing the fact that we will very likely have another Trump presidency. And I think last night was just like a huge shift in my perspective. I think I've been hearing a lot, Biden's too old. And during the State of the Union, I was like, okay, we still have like a very presentable, respectable president. And last night I was like, holy shit, Biden has really, really slowed down.
Yeah. And not that it's not still true that we have a respectable president. He's just really old. And they're both really old.
Yeah, I mean, Trump farted during the fucking debate and it's all over TikTok. But of course, his lack of control over his bowel movement isn't as an issue because of Biden's like speech and all that stuff. And also the way that social media sort of is biased against Biden. I don't think that's going to really matter, but it was really sad to see last night.
Yeah, I mean, Biden definitely did not do a good job of fighting off any of the sort of concerns or allegations over his like
mental state
and mental state.
Yeah, I mean, I'm still going to vote Democrat this morning. We have to. This morning we have another terrible Supreme Court ruling, the Chevron case. It's absolutely horrible. I mean, it's a long-term sort of game, and the Supreme Court just made it so that you really have to vote Democrat. Otherwise, it's just everything's going to be held up in the Supreme Court. I never hope for anyone's death, but if Justice Clarence Thomas and Alito just happen to kick the bucket, I think
they could also choose strategically because they're very far right. They could both choose to dip out early and guarantee more far right positions for longer periods of time on the bench.
They're getting old. If Trump wins, both of those justices are definitely going to retire during the next 4 years. But hopefully, Biden wins and they kick the bucket during his presidency.
I think what people need to remember is that with any president, it's not just the president you get, but all the appointments and cabinet and such that they bring with them. And Trump's last term had the most indictments of any presidency. And so many of those folks had to be pardoned from federal crimes like Steve Bannon, Flynn, Roger Stone, just so many of these like swamp creatures that Trump brings with him. And we're still reeling, to your point, from the damage from the Trump administration with the Supreme Court, and we would experience that most certainly again in another term. So I hope that even if Biden is like not the most exciting candidate to you, the reality is we're looking at only one of these 2 options.
Right.
And we can endure 4 more years of Biden while we demand change for the next cycle.
Yeah. But stop thinking of your president as a rock star.
Yeah.
It's not someone you want to have a drink with. It should be someone that's boring and bland and is going to get the job done.
Yeah. Well, let's talk about the other bottom, which is the elephant in the room, or shall I say the wolf in the room. We have talked about Austin Wolf on this podcast a number of times and his general grossness.
He's disgusting. We've said that multiple times. And also how weird and disturbing the people he's hanging out with.
Yeah, the very young boys. And so today, Austin Wolf was charged and I believe arrested for distributing and possessing adult material that contained children in it, like as young as 10 years old.
The thing about this charge is when the feds are after you, because it could be either a state or a federal crime.
Right.
If it's a federal crime, you're usually crossing state lines. So it's going to be very disturbing, whatever, the allegations, once they come out, the specific facts, it's going to be very disturbing.
I hope that people in our community are really quick to reject Austin because obviously he's rose to a pretty decent level of notoriety within the community. He's a notable gay porn star, but I'm more worried that the far right will weaponize this against sort of our people. And so we just need to be very vocal and active about like rebuking this and stating that like this is not anything that we actively support, and he needs to face justice.
Yeah, I think anyone that's older and hanging out with only very young or young looking people should be a red flag.
Yeah, it's like no surprise that someone is into like barely legal 18-year-olds. Like if they're willing to tell you that, I feel like what they're actually into is even lower than that.
Right. What do you think about LeGrand Wolf?
Oh, I saw the comments on a lot of the videos of people mentioning other porn stars that tend to hang out with really young guys.
Yeah.
So LeGrand Wolf, I feel like, is different because he's married, first of all, to like a man like similar in his age. And I don't know to the extent that LeGrand is actually interested in these younger guys, or is this just the character he plays in these videos because it sells well? I hope I'm not going out on a limb for him here. Like certainly I don't really care either way. Like if he's doing something bad, then he should have to deal with the consequences of that. But I do hate that like we just sort of like blanket statement against like other people. Like we talked about this in like the daddy issues episode, right? That there's one thing between like an age gap and there's another thing between like a fantasizing
child,
about like really young people. So
yeah, I think with LeGrand Wolf Studio, I think small or like fun sized.
Yeah,
I think that's very disturbing. I think that is a red flag.
But that could be its own kink, you know, right? Like some people really do like the differences in builds between people, right? Like I had an ex that was significantly bigger than me, and it was like that was hot, but it had nothing to do with like me looking youngish or boyish or anything like that.
But the actors that are smaller are boyish on that studio. But you know what? I hope that it's just like a size thing and they just happen to be childish looking, but I think it's, you know, a red flag. It's too much for me.
Yeah. I mean, I think in that case, like blame the consumers of that and not the creators as long as they're all of age. Because like, why is that like something you're into? Yeah. Ugh. But anyway,
let's move on to something a little bit lighter. 4th of July, literally light. 4th of July is around the corner, and we're going to be
week.
It's next week. We're going to be going to P-Town, but I just remember how fun 4th of July was as a kid.
What did you love about it?
I think it was the excitement of the fireworks every year. Like, what time did you light the fireworks?
I have no idea. We my family and I always went to our lake house in Alabama. Which is really like real banjo, like, you know, kind of. But I mean, we definitely lit fireworks, but I think we did it multiple times over like the holiday break, not just the 4th.
So would you bring like legal, illegal fireworks?
Yeah. So in Georgia, I don't think fireworks were legal, but in Alabama they were.
Okay.
So on the drive to our lake house in Alabama, you would see all those like Black Cat kind of firework places on the side of the road. And we would stock up on just like the most insane shit.
So you would burn like Black Cats?
Yeah, like the bottle rockets and the Roman candles.
Yeah.
They'd sell those really big kits of all kinds of things, like a mixture. Yeah, we'd go through a lot of those. What about you?
I remember burning I think it's an M83.
No idea.
I think it's an M83, but it's like basically just like a tiny bomb. So you would like light it. And I remember being so young, and my brothers and I just like ran. I think I fell over and I had to like get back up, and it's just like this huge explosion. And then I had a ton of Black Cats, and they're just mini explosions. Like you like have to throw them really quick. I could never do it because I was too afraid.
Were you afraid you were going to like blow your finger off?
Yeah. I mean, they do explode very quickly. Like, I don't, your parents allowed you, or like, did you do it behind your back?
No, my parents let us do it.
Terrible parents.
Yeah. Terrible parents. And now that I'm older, I always think about the poor wildlife.
Oh yeah. Everything probably ran.
So startled.
And when you went to the lake house, like, were you afraid of fire? Like, or was it like paved?
No, like we would shoot them over the lake, which is also terrible because then it'd
fall in the water. So
some turtles like gagging on.
Yeah. Oh God.
Bottle rocket.
Was there like a time that you could light them, or did you like wait for the night to fall? Was it like 9 p.m.?
It was definitely like dark so that you could see them, but girl, it's Alabama, anything goes. Cousin fucking goes. Ooh. So it doesn't matter what time you light the fireworks.
I remember like that was the hardest part, is like waiting for, because no one wants to light fireworks during the day, so you'd have to like wait till 8:39, and it was the waiting that was the worst part as a kid.
Yeah. Do you actually like the 4th of July, or did you just like that you were out of school and it was like summer and probably nice out?
No, I love fireworks.
Oh.
I love fireworks. I love watching them. I should say legal ones, because I get scared ones. Like the explosion ones, those aren't fun. They just explode, make really loud noises.
Did you like those little the little things you throw on the ground and they like snap?
Yeah, I can never remember the name, but I totally remember like I would throw them near people.
Yeah.
That was fun.
Guess what my favorite one was?
Was it legal or illegal?
Legal.
Was it the ones that you would hold on to and you can do like...
Right. Yeah, sparkler.
Those
are my
favorite. Classic fag boy.
There definitely has to be a high crossover between gay boys and
Sailor
love for
Moon sparklers. Yeah. Would you write your name?
Or heart.
Did you ever do the high exposure photos where you like write something?
Oh, I know you're talking about. Like I've seen them with like a Polaroid.
Yeah.
And it's
yeah.
Cool.
That was cute. So the way my family and I would do it would be, so I lived on the cul-de-sac growing up, and a lot of the neighbor kids and families would come out, and as a group we would like light fireworks. So like kind of keep the party going, because then everyone would just kind of combine the fireworks that they got, and you'd only do like a couple at a time. So you'd really draw it out for like an hour, over an hour,
Wow.
2 hours.
Well, you and I are starting to have a tradition of being together on the 4th. So how come we've never lit fireworks together?
Because I'm afraid of fire now.
Okay, so I could light them for you, and you would enjoy the display of them.
I'd love to watch you. Only legal ones though, the ones that shoot out like fountains of color, and nothing else.
I bet we can't get them in Provincetown. Actually, I don't know. They would have the sparklers.
A
maybe.
lot of the blue states have outlawed fireworks. California, it's county by county.
Mm. They do an impressive fireworks show in Provincetown, though. You didn't see it last year because you were traveling that day.
Yeah, I left on the 4th because I had to. Dude, can we talk about the 5th, having to work on the 5th of July?
Yeah, that's a you thing.
I don't know how my parents did it.
Yeah.
Oh, would they also be off for the 5th? Your parents?
I don't know. They probably would have just taken off.
Yeah.
Your parents ran like a store.
Small, yeah,
right?
they ran a small
it makes
business.
sense that they had to go back. I mean, my parents ran a small business too, but it wasn't servicing the greater public, so they would just shut it down for the weekend.
And now, like being an adult, like I never have the 5th off, and it sucks. Like it makes the 4th awful, and then I have to go to sleep I go to sleep at 9 p.m. during the week. So going on to sleep at 9 p.m. on the 4th is absolutely horrible, especially in San Francisco. It's like illegal. Yet everywhere you just hear fireworks.
All the fireworks. Yeah. One thing I wanted to ask you, what are some of your favorite things to eat on the 4th? Both growing up and now.
I feel like baked mac and cheese is my favorite, or that I love a good
baked mac and cheese or bacon mac and cheese?
Baked. Like it has to like a
casserole kind of style.
Yeah, like you have to put the cheese on top and then put it in the oven again and like let it get that like hardened crust. A good hot dog.
I was gonna say the hot dog is the quintessential.
Yeah,
and I don't know if it's just because Jennifer Coolidge's line.
I think that's part of it. I think it's also the phallic shape of it.
It's just such a portable package.
Yeah.
Like we need more of those kind of foods. Honestly, hot dogs, corn dogs.
Yeah.
There's just something about the mustard and ketchup of it all.
It's something about holding it, you know? It's like I can hold it all in one hand.
Totally. You can hold it in one hand, you know, your beverage in the other while you watch the fireworks. Like what is not more patriotic than that?
And it's not that like big, so you can have multiple or you can have a little. Like if you're just like feeling peckish, you can get one. And if you're feeling hungry, you can get several.
Yeah, or you could have a foot-long one.
Did you ever watch the 4th of July hot dog eating contest with Kenneth Chestnut?
No.
Oh my God. You haven't been American until you watch that. It's like, where does it go? And they have this
Don't they have the milk? Do they use milk?
It's water. Okay. So what they eat the bun and dog separately. And so they dip
that sounds awful.
They dip the bread in water to like condense it and then take it all. And it's impressive. I'm disturbed, disgusted, aroused.
Yeah, I haven't seen probably anyone be able to make that many wieners disappear since Matt Ellis, the new Australian OnlyFans star. Yeah, so sounds like you love a hot dog and mac and cheese for the 4th.
Yeah.
I have some weird ones. Like I love a funnel cake, which I don't see that often anymore.
So I don't like, when you say funnel cake, I think of something dry. Is that what you envision? Or is it like a funnel cake with like a topping on it? Like I know a lot of like the preserved strawberries go on top of it, whipped cream, but I can't get over like a dry cake.
I'm sure it depends on how fresh it is too, but I've had a lot of really good fresh out the fryer sort of funnel cakes, and I'm a purist. I love a powdered sugar on it.
Really?
But I love that. And
it just reminds me of the carnival. Like, did you ever have like the county fairs?
So I think that's why it makes me think of it, because I think there was like a carnival or sort of county fair that would set up on the week of 4th of July, and we would go to that week, and the weekend go to the lake house in Alabama. So I think I correlate that or associate it with having the funnel cake. And then the other item that is weirdly very Americana on 4th of July for me is a bag of like classic Lay's.
I have a problem with that.
Too oily?
No, the classic Lay's are, first of all, they're broke boy chips. You open that, they're barely there.
It's all like just air.
It's cotton candy. Yeah, you put that in your mouth and just gone.
When you talk about shrinkflation too.
Oh my God.
There's nothing in that now.
And then I also have a problem with the original. Like, she ain't got no flavor, babe.
I love the original.
No, babe. You got to get the best ones are kettle salt and vinegar chips.
I love the way that a classic Lay's just fucks up the roof of your mouth.
No, it doesn't.
Like shreds my mouth every single time.
Disappears. No, the kettle ones, those are the thick ones. Those are the ones that are going to scratch you crawling right back.
The other weird food item that always seemed to show up for the 4th of July were those like mall cookie cakes, but then was like red, white, and blue like icing on it. I don't know. It seemed like someone always brought one of those.
Like I've seen the cookies, like those like really fake looking cookies from like Target that have like it looks like they shipped it all together.
No, I'm talking about like it's actually like a big tray of cookie. It's like one gigantic cookie, but it's a cake, like you slice into it.
Oh, I know what you're talking about.
This would always be at like the shittiest malls.
Yes.
You know what I mean?
Yep.
Like it was like a thing that it only sold those cookie cakes. And someone would inevitably always bring one of those. And I don't know, I'm not a hater of it.
I think that I remember them being kind of hard.
They are hard.
Yeah, I think that's my problem with them. I don't like dry things. I grew up on tres leches, which is like extremely moist. Moist.
Do you put tahini on your hot dogs?
I can't tell if you're being serious or not.
No, I'm asking a question. Like, is that a thing? Have you ever tried it?
Tahini on a hot dog?
Is it only good on like fruit?
Yes, and like a rimmed drink. Like, you don't put that on food.
On meats?
Yeah. No. Oh no. You got to jail. Straight to jail. What are your thoughts about 4th of July in the context of the things America has done?
Yeah. So I think a lot of people find something like the 4th really hard to be happy about or to like feel patriotic.
Yeah.
Like, do you feel very patriotic yourself?
No, I never feel patriotic until I take a bite of baked mac and cheese. And then I'm like, fuck America. Like, fuck yeah, America.
Or as soon as you come back from Europe and you have like some greasy, like fried chicken or something.
Yeah, or just like iced coffee.
You hear that screaming eagle in your ear. Yeah. It's actually funny. Like, so preparing for this podcast episode, I was looking at like Independence Day stuff and the Revolutionary Wars, like what really led to that. So I found out that gay people were actually very instrumental in the Revolutionary War.
One of Washington's like top generals is thought to be gay.
Yeah. So his name is Frederick Wilhelm August Heinrich Ferdinand von Steuben, or the Baron von Steuben. And he's a Prussian military officer. And so he came to Valley Forge with a man who was believed to be his partner at the time. And so his job was to train the Continental Army, which represented the 13 colonies. and he's one of the fathers of the U.S. Army.
Cool.
Yeah,
Hot.
and apparently he also love affairs with 3 other guys. 2 of them were also young officers.
It sounds like modern day Achilles and Patroclus.
Totally. So, yeah, you can thank the fags for, your freedom on the 4th.
Add it to the list.
Yeah, add it to the list.
So what do you think about wearing patriotic clothing?
Ooh.
There's like a lot of aspects to it because I feel like in the real world outside of the 4th of July, even actually during the 4th of July, someone that's wearing like American flag t-shirt, American flag, whatever, it gives me MAGA. It gives me Trump farting on the debate stage.
I have never been one for like blind faith. I had a problem with the Pledge of Allegiance by the time I was like 7 or 8, to be honest with you. Like I didn't like saying it. So
I said in Latin.
So I don't know. There's something weird, especially on a non-4th of July day, like just every day wearing red, white, and blue kind of stuff. That's really weird to me. I think it's because it's all like been a little bit hijacked by a certain political party. Yeah. But also, even besides that, I don't know how many straight friends you had growing up, but the guy that's always wearing like the knee-length American flag board shorts is always like the biggest drunk asshole. So I think I just associate so many negative things with seeing American flags on clothing that it's like an ick to me.
Yeah, and I already told you this, but I bought Speedos in the American flag.
Which makes sense.
Yeah.
That totally is on brand for you.
Yeah.
Is it on the crotch and the ass or just...
Oh, the entire thing is, American flag. I don't know. I think it's going to be more of a joke. So I think I won't actually wear it out, but I don't want to be mistaken for that type of person, I
don't think you will be in Provincetown, but I think Provincetown is where I would limit wearing it to. Like I wouldn't wear it in Spain.
Yeah. But what are we doing for the 4th this year?
Yeah, so we're going to Provincetown, which is kind of full circle from around the time we started this podcast.
Yeah.
This will only be our 2nd trip there.
Yeah, I'm looking forward to this trip. I really, really love P-Town. I wish we went multiple times a year.
I know. Yeah, and I want to see it at like different times.
Stages.
Yeah, like I know next year we're thinking of maybe going around Halloween, which I think will be really cool.
Yeah, and you wanted to check out Bear Week next year?
Bear Week.
You want to get covered in honey, right, and go to Bear Week.
Bears and whales.
Yeah.
So many animals. Yeah. But last year, the dates were a little bit different, just the way they fell. And so, like you said, you left on the 4th, whereas this year, that's sort of the beginning of our trip. Yeah. So I'm curious to see, like, we're basically going the 2nd weekend of it this year. So I'm curious to see how different it is and if it's busier, like more people.
I would imagine so, because
I think so.
Last year, the 4th fell on a Tuesday.
Right.
So I felt like most of the partying was probably done that weekend before. And I feel like this year, because it falls on a Thursday, it's going to be more popular to go. No one's going to be working the 5th, so it's going to be more popular to go there the 3rd, check it out, spend the weekend, and party it up.
Yeah, and we have, as we mentioned last episode, some new folks coming this time, and some more friends that have just tacked on as well. Yeah. So I'm interested to see like some of these people, like especially Ty experience his first P-Town with us. I think that's going to be really fun.
Super fun.
Yeah, and the lineup looks great. So
are we going to be partying this year for the 4th in P-Town?
Yeah,
what's the vibe?
The 4th, we're going to a beach party, I think.
Which was supposed to be co-hosted by Austin Wolf.
Yes, it was supposed to be hosted by Austin Wolf. I did see that that's already been removed.
Oh, Crown and Anchor removed it?
Yeah, it's gone.
Oh, shit.
So, kudos to them for taking quick action.
They're quick. Yeah, they got to redo it because it has the ticket pricing, the door opening. So they had to make a new one, I'm assuming.
Your ticket might still say it because that's already been issued. But if you go on like Instagram and all that, it doesn't mention his name on the party event anymore.
Oh, that is so funny.
Yeah. So I'm not really sure who they would get to replace him, but you could just choose any.
Yeah. I mean, honestly, is anyone going to a party because of Austin Wolf?
I would hope not.
Ew, disgusting.
Yeah, so we have the beach party on the 4th, which I think is the beach at Crown and Anchor.
Yeah.
And then I think we're going to do the party on the 5th at Crown and Anchor, which is going to be DJ Abel, which is probably the biggest circuit DJ.
Have we been to any other parties with him?
I don't think we've ever gone to an Abel party, which at Crown and Anchor, the room we liked last time was not where he would be anyway. We liked the pop one next door, but obviously it's all the crowds basically in the same place. Yeah. So TBD on where we actually end up there, but I think we'll probably do Crown and Anchor both of those days, and we'll probably do tea every day at Boat Slip. So
yeah, I'm looking forward to it. And then right after P-Town and the 4th, We're flying directly to Spain, and that's why we're going to be taking off like a month
Yes.
off of this podcast. Yeah.
Yes. It's become a routine for us now. Our little family of friends that we do this big trip every summer.
Yeah. This year it's a huge group. It's 9 people.
Yeah, this is the biggest one so far.
Yeah. So I think we've become a little bit of experts in the sort of dynamics for a perfect group adventure.
Yeah, we've had a number of these trips happen now, some more successful than others.
Yeah. I mean,
we've learned a lot.
We've learned a lot. You know, I think the people that survive a group adventure says a lot.
Mm-hmm.
And I think we've kind of like, you know, picked and chosen people now. And I think that we've like kind of gotten better about like who would best be a good fit for a group adventure.
Yeah. Although we do have some folks joining us this year that have never traveled with us before.
Yeah.
So, but I think we have a good feel for the dynamics.
And honestly, I think with like a bigger group, it might be easier for new people to get in because it's like there's a lot more diversity in personalities and you can kind of like pick and choose your own adventure. If it's like a little too overwhelming, you can sit back. So we've compiled a list of rules for a successful trip. Do you want to start us off, Colby?
Sure. So let's go in order. I think rule number 1, and this is an absolute, no broke boys.
No broke boys. I don't want to worry about where we're going to be eating. I don't want to have to worry about like, oh, we have to eat at McDonald's because so-and-so is poor.
I hear you out. I think that we never really go crazy on these trips. Like there's a mixture of nicer dining, like nights that we're all going to get together and have expensive meals. And then there are days where we just kind of free for all it. Yeah. We go to something a little more casual, but I don't want to be restricted or stressed about thinking about like whether someone is going to be okay with like an expensive meal or not.
Yeah. And some restaurants don't take multiple credit cards. So someone's going to have to put down, you know, a credit card for 9 people and we will pay you back. Yeah. It's just, I don't want to have to worry about a person being like, it's not my turn. I'm not going to do it. Like, suck it up. Like you're on a trip, be on a vacation. You're going to get paid back. We're all friends here.
Yeah.
No broke boys.
And so an example that comes to mind is when we were in Mykonos last summer, we went to Zuma, which was like a super expensive sort of last minute meal that we did. It was, I don't know, closer to 2,000 euros or something for our whole group, but it was an amazing experience. Yeah. And it was more than just the food. It was like 4-ish hours of just like a really, really nice time and beautiful views. And I wouldn't have wanted to sacrifice that. And I've been on other trips to Mykonos where now I know I did sacrifice it. Like it was actually on the agenda and I cut it because I knew that people in our group like wouldn't be okay doing that. And now like I know these trips are really expensive. There's a lot of effort and planning that goes into them. I don't want to have to sacrifice those things anymore for people in our group.
Yeah. And there's some people that stayed home instead of going out because they didn't want to purchase an entry. Yeah. They didn't want to purchase an entry ticket or they didn't want to spend money on drinking. So they stayed in. Like, when are you ever going to be this young again in Spain?
Yeah. And honestly, at the end of the day, like, it's not that material.
Yeah.
But I also have some other sub rules for this one. So on a long trip like this, we don't split bills, right? Like someone pays for it. And then at the end of the trip, we're going to divvy it up then accordingly, but we're not itemizing things. Yeah. It's just going to be split evenly because there's too many people. Yeah. And after 2 or 3 weeks of traveling, there's no way that we can possibly keep track of exactly who ordered what. That's just like too much. And there's not going to be any like Venmoing after each event. We're going to do it all at the end, have it all nicely like tabulated. And that's just the way I roll.
I can't stand the people that are like, oh, I only had 1 drink.
Yeah, I've been on trips where like people did not order cocktails, like they ordered just beer. Yeah. And then they wanted to pay less than everyone else. And my like view on this, it's like one thing if it's like just 1 round of drinks, but when you're talking like 4 or 5 hours somewhere and it's like $1,000 tab and there's so many things, like at that point, that was your choice to like not order this, like, you know, the same thing as everyone else. Now it's completely different if like, say I in my group order a $500 bottle of vodka to come and be served at the cabana. Yeah, like I should pay for that unless we're all agreeing that like we want to do that. Yeah. But just like one-off drinks and stuff, no, I'm not splitting that.
Yeah. Cannot stand them. Like, stop being a little bitch.
Yeah,
And
totally.
just take it.
Totally. So no broke boys. Do you want to go over rule number 2?
Rule number 2, the group must be balanced. And what I mean is that there has to be a good combination of different types of personalities. So, for example, you need to have at least one messy person in the group. You need to have at least one person that everyone knows to be like the kind of glue. And you also have to have like a certain number of NPCs or non-playable characters that kind of just like vibe around and go with the flow.
Can I tell you that there's a trick to this though?
Uh-huh.
For this to be successful, you need to ask everyone in the group a single question, which is who is going to be the messiest?
Yeah.
And you know what the answer is?
What?
That person should always respond with them. So everyone thinks that they're going to be the messiest in the group. That is how you have a great time.
But you also need to be, if everyone's a messy person, then there's going to be drama.
Totally.
So
So you don't want everyone to actually be a mess.
Yeah.
You just want everyone agreeing that they're there to like vibe and
Yeah.
they're there to live it up.
Yeah. So yeah, you need to have a perfect, and like if you can have a bitch in there, you know?
Yeah, I'm always there.
You're always there. I don't want to call you out, but yeah. But if you have too many of them, suddenly they're not going to survive the friend group. It's civil war. You have to pick and choose.
Yeah, I agree with that. All right, I'll cover number 3 because it's about me. You need one twink to rule them all.
Yeah. And by that, we mean someone needs to plan it. Like,
Yeah.
what activities are we doing? Where are we going? What dates? All that good stuff. It's boring and you're really good. And by really good, you're really annoying. You tell me, hey, pick this. What are we doing? Have you chosen this? You're going to do that. And you're really good about that. But you need someone to do that. It's like scat. No one likes scat, but it fertilizes the trees.
Well, so a lot of these big trips, we're always going to Europe, right? Which Europe, if anything, is not known for its efficiency or organization. So when you've got like the amount of people on our trips that are going, like you want it to go smoothly. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
And I think the last few trips, other than like some weird dynamics with people, all the logistics and everything have gone really smoothly.
Yeah.
And that's not for nothing.
Yeah.
You know?
You're really good about making sure that there's an activity without overwhelming the day. Like, I don't want to be, 12 o'clock here, 3 o'clock there, 4 o'clock there. Like, that's too much.
Yeah.
You're really good about like creating a balance of like leisure plus maybe some sort of like historical thing or just kind of exploring.
Yeah, I mean, my tips here are that you need some sort of like base underlying structure, especially when it comes to like restaurants, right? Like the best restaurants are always going to be very hard to get into, or the best beach clubs or nightclubs or whatever it is. And so, like for our group, I have a good sense of what the kinds of things we're going to want to do. And again, if it's going to be like a Friday or Saturday, I know we need to have some kind of reservation around that. And so I at least get the skeleton of that and the framework, and we can always cancel it or whatever later, like the day before, if we know like that's not going to be what we want to do the next day. But I think it's good to at least have some sort of base structure, and then I'll leave lots of time open in the day, or like activities that are like kind of tentatively scheduled. I know loosely we want to do this on this day, but we could move it tomorrow if we need to.
Yeah.
I try to do that. I also try to get input from the group of, okay, like what are your must-haves? And then I really try to limit that down. So I think what a lot of people do wrong is, number one, they try to hop to like too many places on a trip. Like if we're going somewhere for like 2 or 3 weeks, I don't want to spend all my time in taxis and on planes and airports. It needs to be limited to like 2 or 3 places.
People always try to cram as much in like a short amount of time. Like,
Which is just such an American thing, because you get such little vacation. They're like, I need to do all of Europe in 2 weeks.
Like, you should not be going to be in a country for like a week. You should only be going to 1, maybe 2 places. Like, you want to like get the feel right for the city. Like,
you want to feel like you're integrated into the day-to-day a little bit and not wearing yourself out. And then the other thing they do is they want to go to like all of these tourist hotspots. I think about in Rome, Italy, right? You literally could eat up your entire trip just going to things like the Vatican, the
Yeah.
Colosseum, Pantheon, all these things. And after a while, a Duomo is a Duomo. You know what I mean?
Yeah, like everything, you really lose the value of whatever you saw because it just kind of blends together.
Totally.
Like the same thing with like museums. Like you can only go to like one museum and you can't be there for too long. Otherwise, you like don't appreciate why it's so special.
Yeah. And like we're about to go to Spain. Like in Barcelona, there's literally so many things you could do. And so I try to recommend like no more than like 2 or 3 of those kind of things, because you're going to waste your time in lines at these places, and none of them are like right in the city center. So it's a commute there. I get so much more value out of just walking around with no like real aim or purpose, or like sitting in a cafe, which is something like I love to do in Paris, just sit there for hours and kind of observe and sample things. I think that is just so much more valuable. So that's my like tips for, you know, like really scheduling things. And then another thing I love now is ChatGPT.
Oh, how are you using ChatGPT for scheduling?
Yeah, so the best use I've had for it so far is when I did the south of France last year. I knew where we were staying in Nice, and I knew that I wanted to go to Provence, and I wanted to see lavender fields on the way. And so I had ChatGPT like sort of write up for me basically an outline of the day, like what fields I should go to based on like ratings from online. Give me the GPS coordinates so I could like plug this into like a map. And then I basically just gave it all the instructions. I was like, you know, I want to spend X amount of time doing this. I want to make sure there's like a dinner on the way back, all that sort of stuff. And it plotted it all out for me. And of course you need to like go and cross-reference these things, but it's such a like really efficient and great way to like come up with ideas. And if you're like me, super anal retentive, it's just a really good way to like organize and structure your trip. Just for like more insights.
Did you use it for this trip?
I did use it for Mallorca, really, because that's probably the most hectic part of our trip this year, where we're going to Valdemosa, Sawyer, Daya, and I was trying to have it optimize efficiency around, okay, let's do this on different days, like what makes the most sense, like what's on the way.
Yeah.
And I know you talked about maybe you wanted to do a vineyard. So I like used it to sort of just crank out some like possible things for me.
Yeah.
But to recap, you need someone who's going to keep everybody in order.
So the next rule we have is you have to be down to clown.
Definitely.
So this means like everyone can have different personalities, but everyone has to be like willing to do the same sort of craziness. So I remember a couple of years ago, we went to Madrid. And we asked, like, I think the bar was closing down. We asked the bartender, like, what to do. And he had recommended this place, which we can't really remember the name. Was it like Revolution or something like that?
I've looked on the map 100 times and I still can't find it.
So we take him up on this. We go to this party. I think it was called Revolution. We get there and the bartender or the bouncer was like, sorry, there's a private event right now. We have a list. Are you on the list? The 3 of us, it was me, Colby, and his partner, looked at each other and we're like, no, sorry, we're not on the list. We start walking away, and then the bouncer comes after us and tells us, hey, actually, like, we'll let you in. And then she starts saying all the rules. No means no. Put a sticker on your phone. And we're like, what the fuck did we get ourselves into? They lead us downstairs, and it's like this massive underground party where people are getting whipped. There is this very large labyrinth sex room. It's the biggest one I've ever seen. There's a huge dance floors. It is wild.
You've seen Blade?
Yes.
So the scene in Blade where it starts to rain blood, that is what the energy of this club was like.
Yeah, it was such a fun experience.
And it's not anything that, like, if you'd explained it to me, I wouldn't have been interested in it. But I liked that, like, the spontaneity of it.
Yeah.
And it was just like, we were so fish out of water.
Yeah, I mean, like, the bartender never said what, he was like, oh, this is like a really fun party. That's all he said. He never explained to us what goes on.
Yeah.
And so the fact, all of us just kind of looked at each other. We're like, okay, I guess we're doing this, right? I mean, we're on vacation, but it was one of the most fun nights. Like, to retell that story, it's just fun.
I remember us being in a room where you were like conversing with people in Spanish that I didn't obviously understand because I don't speak Spanish, but next to me, I don't know, like arm's distance away, a twink in a jockstrap was railing a woman on a table. And it was just like the most casual thing happening.
I mean, lines were blurred.
Lines were very blurred. And I think like what you're saying with this rule is like, you just need to be open to the possibilities and like to spontaneity.
Yeah. You're on vacation. Like, when is this ever going to happen?
Adventure is the point.
Yes. Yes.
It makes me think of also this last summer, and these guys listen to this podcast, so, save your butthurt feelings. But we were in Nice, and we could have gone to a bathhouse there. Nice had like kind of a weird gay vibe. Like, I think it probably is really busy, but we were just like there early or something. I have no idea, but it was just kind of dead, like it was in Greece. And so we'd already explored most of the dance clubs. And at one point we like went by like what was clearly a bathhouse, and it was bustling. Like people were headed in there like every 2 or 3 minutes. And my understanding is that it's kind of like the one that we went to in Sitges before, where it's like a bar and then there's like dark rooms in the back. So you don't have to go to the dark rooms. You could just hang out at the bar. And so half of our group was interested in going to it, and the other half was like absolutely not doing that. So we just didn't go because we were a fairly small group.
No.
And now I have to live with the whole like, what
regret.
Would it have been like?
Yeah.
Would it have been fun? Like, would we have talked and met people that were, interesting people? Yeah. So I think that's the whole point, is the adventure. You're signing up for the craziness of it all.
My favorite line for when people are like, "Oh no, I don't want to do that. Like, I don't want to go, whatever." I always think of the line in Black Swan where Mila Kunis is trying to give Natalie Portman Molly, and she goes, "No, I can't." And then Mila Kunis goes, "What are you gonna do? Go back to mommy?" And so Natalie Portman takes the Molly. Oh god,
you bully me in the same way.
What are you gonna do? Go back to mommy?
Yeah, I totally agree though. Down to clown is a must. And it kind of goes back to my earlier point. Like when you ask people, they should say they're the messiest, and they should be like signed up and ready for like whatever happens.
Exactly. And what's our last rule? My
final rule for a successful trip is that the next trip has to be planned.
Yeah.
This is just how you avoid FOMO.
Yeah. And you have to, I think if you don't have something planned, the last day of the trip is so depressing.
So depressing. So you avoid that come down.
Yeah.
And the FOMO when you get back, like the worst part for me is when we come back from Europe and in August, everyone is there. And I have to like see all the Instagram photos of people on the beach and Mykonos and all that. And if we have the next trip planned, I'm already like looking for that. I'm already working towards my gym goals towards that. So you absolutely have to have the next trip planned.
It's just fun to think about like, oh, I'll be doing this again with my friends. Like it's kind of like continuous fun. It's an endless summer.
Yeah. And I love the planning of it. We're already planning out to like August of next year. So we'll see how it goes.
Well, if we survive,
which, you know what, if some of us don't make it, that could be a good thing.
Yeah. So next episode, when we come back from August, you'll realize there's only one of us. We don't know which one.
Yeah. So let us know which one of us you want it to be.
Yeah. Team Alex or Team Colby?
All right. Well, we hope that these rules are both instructive and helpful for you and having a wonderful summer. And we will talk to you in August.
Yeah. We'll see you guys soon. All right.
See ya. Hey, it's Colby and Alex here. Thank you for listening to No Notes.
If you enjoyed the show, don't forget to follow us wherever you get your podcasts and share with your friends.
You can also follow us on Instagram at No Notes Pod, one word, where you'll find updates on new episodes and see more into our lives and the stories that we share with you on this show.
Your support means the world to us. Until next time, keep it real and keep it queer.